Hello, class. I hope you're doing well. This is for our week 8 deliverables. So we look at the weekly calendar. You can see that there's nothing on here except class time. By the time you see this, I will have posted the midterm grades. Everybody did well. Now we've got the last test out of the way in this class, the one and only test. Well, there was an assessment on your first week too, but the last class out of the way. We will, from here on out, we'll be working on the concepts and we'll be working on your papers. Speaking of papers, I want us to be ready for this since we're talking about deliverables. Click on week 9 and you can see there's a benchmark assignment. Also note that I have moved the due date. So I have moved all due dates for the remainder of this class back to Sunday. So that should help you out. If we click on the benchmark, let's look at this assignment. You have about a week and a half, 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks to get this done. Now, this is a individual assignment. I will talk about this in class too, but I want you to work on this assignment in teams, even though each one of you has to submit this one as individuals. I want you to work on all of your assignments as teams, bounce ideas off of each other. So this is looking at strategic alternatives. I don't expect all of you on the same team to identify the same strategic alternatives. Or when we do a risk assessment, I don't expect all of you to identify the exact same risks. But what I do want is for you guys to come up with a variety of ideas on how to approach each assignment. And when it's an individual assignment, have each person take 1 or 2 of those things and address them. So that's a suggestion for how to approach this assignment. Okay, this is a benchmark, strategic alternatives. You're going to analyze the company's strengths and weaknesses in order to recommend feasible value-enhancing alternatives. Use your environmental and industry analysis on this to help you do this. You're going to conduct a SWOT analysis. So we'll talk a lot about SWOT analysis this week in class. And we'll practice SWOT analysis in class too. You'll identify strategic alternatives, create value for the company. How would you use a decision matrix to identify the leading alternatives? And what factors might inhibit the success? And then number 5, growing an organization is not always about increasing the size of the firm. If expansion is not the main focus, what other elements lend themselves to growth of the firm? So you haven't had a lot of, instructor feedback, but the feedback I provide you on this paper will need to be incorporated into the assessing and managing risk assessment later on. Make sure you look at your rubric. One thing I want to call attention to, this says 1,000 to 1,200 words. Now, word count is not part of the rubric. Word count is an estimate of how much time you'll be spending on this assignment and how much the course creators have evaluated that you need to spend to do this well. If this is a 95-point assessment, if you do this in less than 1,000 words, but you're succinct, you get your point across, and you provide me the detail and the sources and the reasons for your thought processes. If you can do it in fewer than 1,000 words, I'll accept that. All right, I think that covers it for this. Due next week, next Sunday. Have it in mind, be thinking about it, talk about it as a team. Now, a couple other things about this week. If I will open the Zoom calls for the class. You're not required to attend the Zoom calls because what I'd rather you do during this time when you're not in class. So if you're the Friday class on a Wednesday, I'd rather you work as a team and start working on the assignment and throwing some ideas out there. If you're in the Wednesday class, same thing on Friday. Because a lot of this, because I want to cover SWOT with the SWOT analysis with everybody in person, a lot of what I do Wednesday, tomorrow, will also be repeated on Friday. So I'll open up the Zoom class. You're not required to be there, but work with your teams on this assignment. All right, I think that covers it for this week. I'm hoping to have some fun in class. SWOT analysis is a pretty easy tool. It can be interesting, it can be fun. So let's have a great week, guys. See you soon.